Asinana Utenika. And that's right, folks. Kofi, avec sa production.
I don't believe it, right?
Let me say a big welcome to you as we broadcast to you from Detroit. This is British Radio Africa. On a beautiful Monday afternoon, Monday night. And as always, this is yours truly, the brother who doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than the lion. But again, folks, we've got lots of goodies in store for you tonight. Please share the video. We have a very sound young Liberian brother as our guest tonight. Mr. Ellis Jones is our special guest tonight. But before we introduce Alex, I want to go to Information Highway. And just before I do that, just remember, this is the brother who doesn't eat iron. But he's definitely stronger than the lion. And that's why they call him and now you know me, GARLEY. You are in for a big treat tonight. This platform is open to every Liberian citizen. And that's why you will not hear that we are supporting this party or supporting Josh Ware and all that good stuff. No. I want the supporters of Josh Ware to come here and express themselves. I want the supporters of the opposition to come here and express themselves. The opportunity that you don't have at other platforms, you have the opportunity here at British Radio Africa. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I want to go to Information Highway to introduce to you Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts, who is standing by. Letty, hello, and welcome to the show.
Good evening, Mr. GARLEY. How are you?
I'm good, but I'm the type of guy that want to do stuff by the book, but again, in the background there seems a little bit of distraction. And this is not fair for professional broadcasting. But anyway, I'm good. Welcome to the show. Tell us,
Okay.
you're
I'm
welcome.
sorry if you hear any sounds. It's just me setting up for my show. But how was your weekend? How was your Father's Day?
The weekend was good. I must say the weekend was good. And Father's Day was good. Uh,
Good.
AJ, Ashel, showed me love,
Good.
which is really good.
Well, happy belated Father's Day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Well, let's get to the task at hand. We want to also say good evening and welcome to our listening and viewing audience to another memorable Monday with your host, Ashford, the Giant, Garley. As we come from a beautiful weekend, the weather was great. We had the privilege of honoring our fathers. We hope you all had a great weekend. For those that don't have your fathers, we do empathize with you and we say, may God console you in these hard days. Again, we're asking you to please share this podcast with your friends, your family, anyone who's interested in Liberia's story. Please share this platform with them because we are coming to you live from three major platforms. We're coming from Facebook Live, aka Bridge TV. We're also coming from YouTube, well, Bridge Radio Africa YouTube channel, and bridgeradioafrica.com. Thank you for choosing Bridge TV as your choice of information and entertainment. Please be respectful of one another. We ask that you be respectful of our host, and most importantly, please do be respectful of our guests tonight. Please share the broadcast, and you may also visit bridgetvafrica.com for more entertainment and information. Again, please make yourselves comfortable with your drink or meal of choice as we have a great discussion with our able guest, Mr. Alex Jones. Back to you, Mr. Garley.
And this is a good thing to come back to, man. But at the end of the day, folks, I'm telling you, we have a very important program tonight. After speaking with Mr. Alice Jones, I think this young man brings a lot to the table. And as we look forward to seeing him come on the platform, I think we want to do justice to our many viewers and supporters. And I just don't call you viewers and supporters for nothing. We will need you to please share the video, invite a few friends. Don't be selfish. And with that said, I will ask you, Mrs. Roberts, to just read out a few comments. And following the reading of your comments, then we'll do an interlude of music for the passing of a Liberian brother, Mr. Bill Horace. Bill Horace is a Liberian based out of Canada. He was shot and killed over the last 48 hours in Canada. What happened? Police is still investigating, but this is a Liberian brother. I met Bill Horace in 2015 when I visited Canada. I believe it was the same time I went to meet Mr. Uri, in Canada. And it was the first time I met Bill Horace, and he was a nice young man. He was shot and killed in his home. Downstairs, his wife and kids were upstairs. How do you explain? You come downstairs and your father or your husband is lying down in a pool of blood. This is a Liberian brother. Mr. Bill Harris, rest in peace. May God continue to bless your soul. Whatever happened, I am not a judge, but I met you. The spirit you were in, you appeared as a very good brother, Mr. Bill Harris. Secondly, I want to say congratulations and happy birthday to Mr. Benana Yuri. Mr. Yuri celebrates his birthday today, and Bob Band, I want to say congratulations and let us show hope that you live to see many, many more birthdays to come. You are a good man. You love Liberia. You love the people of Liberia. And I met Mr. Yuri many, many years ago. Back in 1997. And I was on the radio then when ASHFORD got it was really ASHFORD GARLEY. This is real talk, folks. I want you to take a listen. 1997, I was on the radio, and Ben and I really saw this young kid that were doing the best things on the radio. And he reached out to me and said, "Dan, Peking, you're doing your thing." I said, "Thank you, big brother." And he said, "Listen, I'm here, you getting married?" I said, "Yes, I am getting married, in 1998. And Mr. Yuri said to me, "My man, if anything I can do to help with your wedding, just let me know." I said, "No problem." And Mr. Yuri was one of those instrumental when I got married in 1998 in Liberia. Not only that, in March of 1999, I was going to the Africa Coast because my mother was really sick, and I wanted to bring my mother back to Liberia. And I brought my mother back to Liberia, and Ben and Yuri was there because my mother had to do a surgery. I went to JFK. They were asking for $300, and I said, "I don't have that kind of money." And Mr. Yuri said, "You know what? I would do this for you because I love your style of journalism. I love the thing you do. You tell people as it is." And Mr. Yuri was there. So my mother went and got the surgery, and then I had a visa to come to America. Just late May, late April, early May, and I hustled. When you want to know how people will appreciate you, try to get American visa. So I went and got the visa to come to America. I got the visa. The visa was for 3 weeks. But guess what? 1 week for my visa to expire, I didn't have plane ticket to come to America. This year guy had been there for me, and I couldn't go back to him and say, "My man, I needed my plane ticket," So, and I was friends with other people, like the Edwin Snow, and stuff like that. Edwin Snow said we used to live together, and Edwin Snow said, "My man, listen, I didn't do what I had to do for your wedding, but I would, I would buy you a taxi that you can run and stuff like that. Listen, man, I'm just keeping it real. When you do something for me, I would not hide it. I would tell you." So Edwin wanted to give me a taxi for $4,500, but then he didn't show up on that promise. I said, "But Edwin, I got married. You wanted to be the chief patron. You didn't show up. You were step up. Now, I promoted you. You were deputy director general at the LPRC. Now, I need some type of car to drive. I can't just be the ASHFORD guy that will be chartering taxi. I need something." So he said, "But ASHFORD, you know what? I'll give you the taxi." Edwin Snow did not give me the text. I said, okay, Edwin, let's scratch that. I said, my man, I got visa. I want to go to America. Get my visa here. I got 1 week for the visa to expire. If I don't leave from Liberia on the 9th of May, I will not have the opportunity to go to America. I want you to help me. Edwin, you my friend. This is Edwin Snow I'm telling you about, folks. Edwin said, no, don't worry, Ashford. I got this for you. And when Edwin Snow was the deputy managing director at LPRC, we were brothers then. He used to say to me, Ashford, give the person 5,000, give the person 10,000. And Edwin Snow would never tell you, listen to what I tell you. He would never tell you that Ashford GARLEY took a dime that didn't belong to him. Because I was on the radio. The fact that you would do something that will mess up your character, people would not respect you. So I said, okay, I was doing this. And I would see Edwin Snow buying homes or buying mattresses for people. I said, but I just need something to go to America. My visa was soon expired, blah, blah, blah. But listen to this, folks. Edwin Snow wrote a check to J. Mama Wolo Corley. At the time, she ran some airline place on Broad Street. And J. Mama said, Ashford, don't worry. Edwin have already written the check for $1,020 to come from Abidjan to New York. Oh, man, I'm happy. Oh, I got my page. I got my stuff. I hustle. May 9 of 1999, I got on the plane and went to Abidjan. There was this plane called Air Afrique. I went to the offices of Air Afrique to get my plane ticket from Abidjan to America. They said, we don't see your name in the system. Then I called J. Mama Wolo Corley in Liberia. I said, J. Mama, why my name is not in the system? You know what a lady said to me? She said, Ashwa, I'm sorry, but the plane ticket that Edwin Snow wrote, or the check that Edwin Snow wrote to get a plane ticket, it was a fake check. So I'm sorry you can't travel to America. This is 1 week for my visa to expire to come to America. You know who saved my life for me to have this voice today? It was the aunt of my wife, Aretha Jackson, that sent me a round trip ticket for $760 to come from Abidjan to New York. When I thought 1 week for my visa to expire, I was going to be dumb. Some of the politicians that you think are in your favor, they don't give a damn about you. It's all about themselves. It's all about self-interest. You promote them today, they appreciate you. In the event where they don't need you, they will send you down the drain. So when you are a young person coming up and you want to improve your life, try hard to leave that country. All these politicians are evil. They are wicked people. It's all about themselves. They don't give a damn about you. I arrived in New York on May 12th, 1999. Editors Addy, Idatus Addy was at the airport to pick me up. I spent a couple of days in New York, went to Detroit to the aunt of my wife, the late Aretha Jackson. May her soul rest in peace. And folks, I'm in America. I've worked hard. I came with the intention of working hard in America. This is one of the best places you want to be. When you are willing to work hard in America and play by the rules, nobody can take it from you. And for the 21 plus years that I have spent in America, I'm not a perfect guy, but I can assure you, the politicians we have in Liberia, we have to examine them. We have to ask them the tough questions. Do they mean well for Liberia? Do they really care about some of the things they say? Because if we don't ask these people the tough questions, then where are you? I know because of what Mr. Ure did for me, I wanted to reciprocate, I wanted to return the favor. But I believe you do the math. I believe I have paid Mr. Ure triple. Every time I went to Liberia to support Benani Ure, I bought my own plane ticket. Every time my wife went to Liberia to go to Liberia, uh, I bought her plane ticket. When I went to Liberia for the first time after 15 years, guess what? I took $10,000 out of my 401k and spent 3 months in Liberia. I came back to America. I took additional $10,000, a total of $20,000 out of my 401k just to support this man because he did something for me when back then when I didn't have it. And I've been finding a way to pay him back. I don't hate Mr. Ure. But at the end of the day, Mr. Ure is not one of those people that you think that he can be president of Liberia because he doesn't love Liberia. It's all about himself. It's all about what I can get from Liberia and not what the people of Liberia can get. And I'm seeing this with our malice. That's why his photograph is on there today. And I want to take this time to say happy birthday to you, Benani Ure. May God continue to bless you. You're a very great businessman. Stick to what you know. Politics is not your area. And folks, that's just all about Benani. My friend, when he came to Canada, you actually can see on that picture, the picture you see on the screen right now, I transported myself to Canada, and the first person Mr. Ure met when he went to Canada was ASHFORD GARLEY. The last person Mr. Ure met or saw before he came back to Liberia was ASHFORD GARLEY. So we don't see people because we want to get something from them. If you don't know me, get to know me well. There are other politicians that call me. I don't need a dime from them. You know what? When I get off the radio, I go and bust my tail to make sure that my family feels better. And that's just what we have tried to do and will continue to do. And we will continue to tell these people who think they want to be politicians, who think they love Liberia, you have got to come clean. And that's why I cannot associate with a particular party. I like Ure. I like Cummings. I like the Boykai, the Yomli Kanga. I have no malice against them. When I start to explain the story of where I come from with George Weah, some of you who are just saying George Weah, you don't even know George Weah. We go back as far as 1993, 94, when George Weah was being hunted by Charles Taylor. The late Jones Blamo, James Camara, they saved the life of George Weah. They helped to take George Weah out of Liberia. You don't even know this story. Listen, 1997, George Weah, Edwin Snow, Jemima Water Corley, Old School Nightclub, the Frajamo, the twin brothers from the Cameroon, Epe Ekon. We sat down with George Weah. 2002, George Weah, ASHFORD GARLEY, Bob Blue, Sam Doe, Terrence Doe. Come on, man. We don't need anything from these people. But we want Liberia to be where we want Liberia to be. With that said, folks, at this time, I want to introduce to you my special guest tonight. And the name is Mr. Teacher Ellis Jones. Hello, and welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Ashford. It's a pleasure to be here.
Ellis, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, Ashford.
Okay. Ellis Jones is in the news, my man. Who is Ellis Jones? Please tell us a little bit about yourself. So before you do that, how do you feel about the platform
Well,
of British Radio Africa? Listen, I think we are setting some type of trend here, bro.
well,
Ellis, are you there?
well, we use one word, just one word, brilliant.
Brian. Okay, I like that. I like that. Okay. Now, we want to go straight into the point, and folks, if you're just joining us, we have with us tonight, Mr. Mr. Chuchu Ellis Jones. He's an organizer, director of the movement to make
Correct.
Nigeria better, MLB, and MLB is a Liberian think. All right, think tank. I don't know. It's THINK think tank, and a pressure group
Correct.
of
Correct.
developing
It's a think
social,
tank.
political. Okay, think tank developing political and economic reforms for Liberia's growth and development. MLB is also building website for all 15. I mean, all 15 political subdivisions. Yeah, pure jet, respectful. Alex is a bank consultant, finance and development analyst based in Tampa,
Yes.
Florida. All right. He is also a writer, and Ellis serves as Globe Afrique business and economic editor. He closely follows and writes about Liberia, Africa, and global institutions. Alex, hello again. Welcome to the show. You might just want to mute something in the back there, Alex, because we're getting some type of feedback, But go
Yeah.
ahead and come
Okay.
in and fill us in.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ashford. Again, like your question earlier was, who am Alex Jones? Alex Jones is a Liberian who went through the Civil War of Liberia in 1990 as a child or teenager, and managed to survive it, and was blessed to get the opportunity to come to travel outside of Liberia in 1996. Uh, Stay in Ivory Coast for a little bit, and Ghana Bujumbura camp for a short while, and then immigrated to the United States uh, to begin my education in Columbus, Ohio, where I got a degree in engineering and finance. Then shortly after, I moved to New York City for work and to advance my career in the finance. And I stayed there for about 6, 7 years, and decided to take a break from all the finance and all the hustle and bustles of New York City, and began to start to look at Africa from a different perspective, to look for solutions in Africa, to reflect, and to write about Africa, about my own self. I currently have a manuscript which will be published this year about development economics and some of the solutions for uh, creating growth and development in Africa. So I spent a lot of time reading and researching, and so yeah, I am. I started the movement to make Liberia better, to research Liberia, because most times when we talk about Liberia, we're talking from a very personal experience, not a academic or from a intellectual standpoint. So I decided to divorce myself from my birth country and look at it from a philosophical point, look at it from a scientific point, if I was not a Liberian, what would I think of Liberia, and what would I do or suggest that Liberia do? So, under that reflection, the movement was born, and I must say a lot of people helped. So Joseph Bonio, who was a childhood friend of mine, we worked tirelessly over the last 10 years looking at different policies around the world and coming up with testing different systems, running analysis, running different models
What again,
to
folks?
achieve growth, to increase.
Okay, folks, if you just joined us,
Yeah,
you're live you're live on British Radio Africa, and today we have Mr. Alex Jones, Chuchu Alex Jones, Mr. Jones. If you can just demonstrate a quick presentation of what MLB is all about, what would it be? You are the man, you are a finance guy, you're interested in making sure that the economy in Liberia, gets back on its footing.
yeah. So shortly, I'll just do a very short 5 minutes or less demo of what some of the things that work we do. Again, we're non-political or apolitical. Our job is to just look at the issue, look at the players, look at um, the place called Liberia from the social standpoint, the economic standpoint, the political standpoint. Where are we headed as a country? I know we all get harassed when we see um, some good signs that we are moving towards peace and reconciliation. We're moving towards elections. But what does that all mean for the ordinary people? How long would it take Liberia to get to a point where at least 50% or 25% will have a decent income and a decent job? So those are the questions that we've asked ourselves. So this little brief presentation that I will give will just give you an overview of the movement and what some of the main pillars are to create that growth and development. Um, so let me just play that right now. So, so I think everyone can see my screen clearly. So actually, can you see my
Yeah.
presentation? There we go. Okay. All right. So again, the movement to make Liberia better, MLB or MLB, uh, Beach Radio presentation. Again, thank you for welcoming us and to give this very short presentation. So the first thing is the movement is a think tank and a pressure group. And most times people are not too familiar with the think tank. What does it mean? And all that means is we are doing things like in a laboratory. We're taking and saying if this person wins, what's the policy? What and how is that going to affect change? If nothing changes in Liberia, or when will the living standard rise from less than $2 a day to $3 or $4 a day? So that's what a think tank does. They do research. As a pressure group, we also look at the different players and the different actors in the political, social, and economic environment in Liberia. And we try to evaluate their skills and their abilities, and we try to keep track of the records to say if this person is there, what would likely happen. So that's the gist of what the organization is. But then we also focus on reform. And I heard your commentary. It was very emotional commentary about Liberia political setting, and many falsehood. And many people are misguided to think that just because you have election or just because someone is elected, you're going to achieve a certain amount of development. That is not true. Okay, for developing the economy in Liberia, currently Liberia is the fourth poorest country in the world. Liberia has one of the lowest GDP and GDP per capita. We are at $3 billion. To put that in the context, that's about the amount of money that Oprah Winfrey has. To put that in another context, a country like Sudan has an $8 billion economy, and a country like Kenya has about a $87 billion economy. So it would take Liberia between 25 to 30 years just to get to Sudan if we grew at 5% every year on average. We're currently at 0% growth. So that's to put things in perspective, no matter who wins. So the goal here is for us to be able to mathematically try to manipulate that number and come up with what can we do to increase that growth from 5% to 10, 15% every year. And so this is some of the things that we are proposing. Okay, so and as a pressure group, we are not here to basically flatter the public or to cater to the sentiments of society. You know, UN will tell you, "Oh, you're doing just fine," and it will give you, or IMF will tell you, "Oh, you're doing just fine, just grow at 2%," and then in 50 years' time, you become, you know, a middle-income country. So our job as a pressure group is to say, no, that is unacceptable. We don't want to grow at 2%. We want to grow at 12%. So what can we do? So we established, we looked at the complexity of Liberia, where you have a system that was created almost two centuries ago, with no real reform. Everything that we have from our constitution, right, to our flag, to our system of government, they are all antiquated. For instance, Ghana, Rwanda, all these countries that we talk about, most of these countries have already revamped the constitution completely in the 90s. They saw that what they had was not working, they could not sustain it. Liberia is one of the only countries I know that has not done any major political reform, economic reform, or social reform. So part of our hallmark is the way forward is we have to reform. We have about 18 commissions. We felt that the best way to reform Liberia, and this is for no matter who wins, it's irrespective if the judge will adopt this, it's good for Liberia. If the opposition, the CPP wins, we encourage them to talk to us and work with us. So we don't care who wins. But what we're seeing is government itself does not have the discipline, all right, to carry on reform. You can see in America, for instance, police brutality has been around forever. We had Democrats, we had Republicans, we had Barack Obama, and none of those things really change. So reform doesn't really come. It's kind of like an alcoholic trying to, you know, cure himself, or drug addict. Government spends for political reasons, and so they're not going to reform themselves because they have to spend in order to entice the population. So, for instance, rules. So the bill rules, there's no real research or no real analysis done to say this rule you're building, whether it's 50 kilometers of roads, is going to generate higher living standard or it's going to generate better GDP. But it sounds good to the people. It shows at least you're doing something. So that's not what we're here for. We're here to say what needs to be done. And so we identify 5 areas and 5 pillars of Liberia that if we focus on those areas and we make those institutions completely independent, Liberia will grow. That's the only way we have seen scientifically or economically that Liberia will grow, and we'll tell you why before the end of this presentation. So one of those areas is the central bank. The central bank is a key in our capitalism environment. The central bank controls money, it controls credit, it controls growth. Without a central bank effective policy, you cannot have industries, you cannot have economic opportunities. So many African countries, part of the reason they're suffering because they don't have an effective central bank. And I say this of Ghana, I say this to Togo. I say this to Nigeria. I think we all can remember a guy in Nigeria called Sunusu. He was a central bank governor for, I believe, about 6 years. He reformed Nigeria's banking system. He shut down banks. He even, I think, jailed some of the CEOs, and Nigeria started to grow. And then what happened? The government came in, they sacked him, and that was the end of that reform. So what we're saying here, beginning with the central bank has to be completely independent. And some will argue, yes, they have a tenure, but they can be independent when they are always making policy to help the government. It's kind of like your doctor not giving you the treatment because you're a family member and they want to see you happy instead of seeing you well. So one, the central bank should not be the central bank governors should not be appointed by any Liberian president. It should be appointed by a group of a committee set up by economists, analysts, accountants, business managers, bankers that will select the best person. Two, the central bank should not be centralized in Monrovia. It should be, in our opinion, it should be in every county. A district of the central bank should be in every county so that growth does not come from just Monrovia. It happens together. Some will argue that Liberia is so small and so we don't have that means. But again, we've looked into the numbers. Liberia is larger than Singapore. Okay. I think I mentioned other days, Magibi County alone is larger than Singapore. And Singapore economy is almost at 300 billion. So that's not an excuse, and it can be done. When we say have a central bank district in the county, you don't have to put a whole staff or 200, 300. But what we're saying is, policies should not come like rules from Monrovia to go to Zedru or to go to Campley. If everything are done coherently, then growth like America, where every state is kind of like an independent country, and everything will flourish together. So that's one of the commissions, or one of the areas we think that the government should focus on. We also think the election commissioner should also be independent, and it should also be decentralized. It should be 15 members instead of the current number of 7, I think. And they should also not be appointed by any political figure. It should be completely by either a consortium of the political parties and the civic organization and the media to come together to determine who. Then we also look at health and education. Currently in Liberia, we don't have a health and education commission. And because we don't have a health and education commission, we haven't had good health and educational policy. So we don't have a system in Liberia where people are sitting designing different school programs and testing it. Whatever the Ministry of Education says is what goes. And it shouldn't be that way. In Liberia currently, you can't even sit on your high school board. The president has to determine, right, who is the almost every university, every board of director, every trustee has to be from government. And we all know from many developing countries that should not be the case. We also want that every judge in Liberia, including members of the Supreme Court, to be elected. We feel that justice in Liberia, a lot of people want justice, but they want justice only when it suits them. And we feel that having justice that would be fair across the board, where there will be no political task, where a judge is elected every year and the people get to vote, or voting in or out, or she in or out, will bring about true accountability rather than someone depending on a party member to elect them as a judge. And then we want every county, we started with the website, we want every county in Liberia to be autonomous.
Now,
many people have said,
I'm interested into the every county in Liberia, especially the 15 political subdivisions. When you talk about reaching out to every county, how are you going to do that, Mr. Jones?
Very simply, it's very simple, Mr. Garley. We currently already have the structure in place. You already have a superintendent. You already have the districts, right? The only difference you say that in all the districts, instead of saying you have a commissioner in the district, you just elect a mayor. It could, instead of having a superintendent, the superintendent will just serve as the elected officer of the cabinet. So you can do that in 2 days. It's not a difficult. The geopolitical boundaries are already there. Now, the complicated part of that is most people thought about it, and it's true that people have thought about it, but no one has come to say, okay, how will you fund it? How will the counties generate their own money to pay their own employees, to hire people? And the answer we have, which is, I think is revolutionary, because this is not done in anywhere we know. Most times you have a, regional central bank and a regional area, a regional political system, and we are saying make it county-wise, and we'll tell you why. So if you have a central bank in the county, what the central bank would then do, for that county, the central bank can issue credit to the government, the local government. Let's say McGibby County. Tomorrow, Mr. Ashton is the GARLEY is the central bank for McGibby County. The National Central Bank will get together as a board and will say, okay, for McGibby County, they have 209,000 people. They were 1,000 square miles area. They have rubber. They have Firestone. They have a small coastal area. They are, they're almost centrally located. We're going to give you guys $20 million on a loan, on a credit basis. We're going to open a credit facility of $20 million. That $20 million, right, will help fund the government, the local government of Firestone, and the businesses in McGibby County. Not Firestone, but the governor of McGibby and the businesses. That means if you have a plan to go and start a cassava processing farm in McGibby County, you don't have to go to Monrovia. You don't have to know the president. You don't have your party does not have to be in power. You can sit right here, go to the website, put your application in, right? They tell you what the collateral is, what the down payment. You submit your business plan, and if it looks good to the central bank management, because there will be people who know how to analyze a business plan. These are not political appointments. They give you the loan, 10,000, 15,000, and as sooner than later, you're doing that in every county. Whether for agriculture, whether to open a primary school, to open a hospital, to open, a small wood workshop, you have growth for 50% easy. You don't have to go to Liberia Senate or Liberian President. No politics, strictly economics. So that's how you fund. Currently, we already have an allocation going to every county through the county development fund, right? So all we'll do, we'll take that amount, we'll put it in our county central bank. Instead of saying the senator gets to decide, I want to build a school, let the economists decide what is the best investment to make in our county, and let the people in the county make that decision.
And one
So,
of the things that caught my attention, growing up, you have to learn from the older people, because you have the opportunity to move forward, to learn and learn a lot more better. Does not make you feel that you should just conclude that you are in fact the man, and the previous leaders don't mean well, and you don't care about them. And I want to say this, where you came out and you keep embarrassing us, where you came out and said, let me find a particular stuff that I'm looking for. Okay, you were asking for uh Antoinette Sayer and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. You're asking them to retire, and you said, and quote, they lack their own familiarity with global economic dispensation.
okay.
Yes,
I believe that you're quoting from one of my articles.
that's right. Because we
Okay.
keep reading on here, we don't read what you wrote.
Okay. So what I meant in that particular article is that in every society, there's change in terms of the academic standard and the technology. and that you have to be current with um, the current industry, current practices. So in Liberia, because someone has a PhD or someone, was they went to Ohio State or they went to Princeton University, does not mean that they're current in the latest Excel or they're current in the latest or they have a specialization. So uh, Anthony Sayer is a very brilliant development economist. She works currently acting as the deputy managing director of the IMF. That does not mean that she is a business person or she's someone who could effectively run a central bank. I'm not saying she can. I think her area is in making policy globally. That's where she spent most of where she has most of her experience. That is where she has that expertise. So what I was referring to is that there are people who, depending on what area of economics or finance that you want to you want to implement something, you need people who have the current knowledge, today's knowledge in that area. And clearly, as we can see, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was economically was a failure in the sense of the living standard in Liberia for 16 years, or the amount of investment that went through Liberia, about 16 billion, according to her. And today, Liberia does not have not one single major industry. Liberia is still heavily indebted in the billions. Liberia living standard is still the lowest. Liberia, the statistics, the inflation rate is double digit. The interest rate is double digit. So, if I was in that capacity, I would retire because I would be like, this is not working. So that was what I was referring to. That's not to take anything away from the expertise. It might be very good, public relations and very good in terms of building institutions in terms of the international community. But as far as the practical day-to-day grind, I didn't see that skill set.
Okay, and folks, if you just joined, we have tonight Mr. Alice Jones. And Alex, my next question has to do with politics. I know you're a guy that wants to do well in terms of changing the lives of the people of Liberia without politics, but nothing works without politics in Liberia. And I'm just the type of guy that would give it to you straight. Whether you're my friend, my friend, I bring it as it is. I read one of your stimulating editorials on CPP, right? And the opposition. Let me ask you a few questions, Alex, on that. I see that you criticize people. You refer to as surrogates and political bulldogs who are attempting to take away all intellectual discourse. But you start your article, Alex, by referring to Alexander Cummings as achieving his millions from selling sugar water. Liberia says sugar water, which of course contributed towards folks in Liberia getting diabetes and other sugar-related illnesses in Africa. Now, Alex, how do you justify your statement? Don't you think some are seeing your comment? Listen, don't you think some are seeing your comment as being very dismissive and condescending?
No, not at all.
Listen,
not at all.
You were coming, Alex. I'm speaking now. You were coming when I conclude.
Okay.
Are you suggesting that if Liberia makes millions of dollars from the sale of palm oil, that would mean that Liberia is making millions from the selling of product that can cause heart disease? Now you can come in.
Yes, and sorry because I'm getting a little bit of delay in the conversation, so I didn't mean to interrupt Okay, so as far as I think in that same article, I think I mentioned the abilities of Mr. Alexander Cummings. In fact, my expectation of Mr. Alexander Cummings, I tend to be very disappointed for a man who has achieved some very high degree of management and preeminence. So when I see his political party behaving a certain way, it raises questions. So let me be very clear that I do not. I think Mr. Cummings, Alex Cummings, is a very, I think, smart man. I think he's a very accomplished man. The point I was making in the article is that his maybe we should use the word surrogate, but I don't think it's a bad word. I ran a campaign in the United States, and I was a surrogate of my, of the candidate. My job was to go out there and promulgate his message and to promote him. So I didn't use that word in a derogatory way. That's what they are. What I was saying is they portrayed Mr. Alexander Cummings' career as a panacea for Liberia. That because he achieved some corporate uh, elevation, that means automatically he would know how to manage Liberia. Despite this fact that this man has never written any paper to my knowledge on Liberia, he's never had discussion in any kind of intellectual forum other than his podcast, other than in an environment that it was very almost staged. I would debate Mr. Cummings or anybody in Liberia, or not just me, but I would say that if we want to talk about development, we want to talk about economics, we want to talk about GDP, then let us have an open and frank discussion. Let's go in a place like how you go to Oxford Union or you come on CNN, you have two people. I've never seen this man done anything. I've never seen his policy on economics, any detailed policy. He talks about growing rice and cassava. He talks about in very broad ways. He does not talk about how it will be funded. He does not talk about the level of debt that we have or where the financing will come from. Uh, it was the same thing we heard from Ellen that because she worked at the UN or at Citibank, so she was so necessarily people was going to pour money because she was president, and we learned from that. So all I was saying that if they want to use the Coca-Cola as the panacea, I mean his experience here as a Coca-Cola executive makes him better, more prepared to manage Liberia, then I think that is a faulty uh, 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 that's a faulty comparison because running Coca-Cola, even if he was the CEO of Coca-Cola, does not necessarily qualifies him to run Liberia or makes him uh, occur with the issues of Liberia. So that was why I was the analogy. And number two, I'm not a big fan of whether it's Coca-Cola or any kind of sweets. I'm an advocate against companies from China, America, dumping these products into Africa, right? That is causing immense health issues. Right. There was a time where Africans was not high risk for things like cancer and diabetes. Since the 90s, and since you have all these products, all right, shipped into Africa, it's caused a lot of health issues. One of the things we're doing here at the movement is to create policy that would discourage people, from eating certain foods like palm oil to a certain extent, which has an impact on life standards. If you go to Europe or countries that are self-conscious where the food, the quantity of products, artificial products in food is regulated. I live in New York with Michael Bloomberg, right? Tax selling the sale of Coke and other soda products because it was bad for health. So I do not, think that what I said, first of all, is inaccurate. So it's very accurate. It's being quoted around the world in many articles. So it's very accurate, and I stand by that statement. Now, I'm not saying that he cannot come and prove that he's not a better person, a better person to run Liberia. I'm just saying that I haven't read anything, all right, or I have not seen him in any kinds of intellectual setting where he has convinced me that he understands the issue. I'm here to tell you that I have some understanding of Liberia financial and economic issues. I've been studying over
and,
almost 20 years.
and I'm glad you said that. You also wrote, quote, Alexander B. Cummings, aka ABC, will be scrutinized like any other Liberian politician, and we will vigorously expose such nonsense political philosophies that try to tip up the speech. Listen, brother. Now, my question to you: how is Cummings suppressing your freedom of speech? Have you or anybody been stopped from expressing your views? If so, when? Please answer.
Thank you. It's public knowledge, and it was said that the ANC had called for the closing of Spoon FM in Liberia because it was critical of the ANC. Right. Also, in that very same article, Emmanuel Savis had posted his prediction that ANC would not win their election. Now, if in any other intellectual setting, or if I was a member of the ANC or I was a surrogate, I would take that debate and tell Mr. Emmanuel Savis why we will win. But instead, they were ridiculing this man, why he didn't predict George Weah was going to brutalize him. And that is also in that very same article, which I thought was below the belt. And these were not ordinary people. These were people who represent the ANC. This was on the ANC's platform. So that was why I came up in terms of the press and people who write, independent writers or people independent views, whether you're press or not, should not be usurped on by any political group, whether it's Mr. Cummings, George Weah, Alex Jones, or whoever. People should be allowed to express themselves. And I'm fine with people coming back in an intellectual way. But it was this man, life was at risk trying to promote the war and economic crimes in Liberia. His leg was broken. It was insensitive to make mention of that simply because of a political projection on the side. And I didn't see Mr. Cummings come out or anybody else come out and say, no, this is too far, you know. And when I said that people cannot get into any kind of intellectualism, all right, there's a lot of intellectual people, I assume, in the ANC that can take on any issues, but they do not. With giving cheap shot or trying to dismiss someone is not stating the reason why you think Mr. Cummings should be president. Let me give you another instance. All right, there have been stories of Mr. Cummings being gay. Anybody who talked about it, they're crazy, they're stupid. What's wrong with somebody being gay? I'm not a gay man, but I don't think anything wrong. And Liberians will get to a point where gay and homosexuality, like in any country that Norway, Finland, or all these people would be accepted there.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Mr. Jones, at this junction, all right?
Yes. Yes.
At midpoint, how would you rate George Weah's government on a scale of 1 to 10? I want you to answer that, and I will move to the second phase of my question.
Thank you. That would depend on which area, socially, economically, foreign relations. So just giving one rating overall, I don't think will do justice to. So let me just go by one area. On a scale of 1 to 10, economically, I will give him a 4.
You are a finance guy. You deal with economics.
I'll give him a 4.
You deal with a lot of people in terms of Sam Jackson and others.
So I'll give him a 4.
You know how to respond.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so I would give him a 4 in terms of economic performance, a 40 over 100. That in terms of and the reason I would give him that score, okay, you judge somebody by what they claim to do, what they claim to say. So
what was the score?
four or 10.
Okay, 4. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. And the reason why I'm giving a 4 because they came on a pro plan and they have not economically had any success in that plan. So if they are come on and said, well, because of the previous regime or the last 10 years, we do not expect any kind of hyper growth or anything for the first 2 years, then I would give him an 8 because the projection was right. But the plan was very, it was just a silly plan because it did not highlight how these things are going to be paid for. You talk about putting street lights. You talk about inheriting a broke country, a country that is in deficit and the interest rate is high and the currency, and then you come up with all these elaborate, social boosts. So that was just bad economic forecasting, bad analysis. So in my view, two, the exchange rate is being out of control in Liberia. As we all know, even at 150 is too high. So that's another area that affects a lot of people directly. The banking industry in Liberia, most of the times people go to the bank, they can get money. There's no real reform in the bank. There's no real system. There's no, we have a lot of expatriates, Nigerians, foreigners. They run wild in Liberia. Liberia does not owe any bank or any major financial institution in Liberia. So that's the problem. No country will allow the financial institution, CEO of every bank, every major bank other than LBDI to be controlled by some foreigner. I mean, they should have better sense. And Ellen didn't do the same thing. So I wonder what kind of economic model are they following? Do you see a British bank in America? You see Berkeley, but Berkeley does not have a commercial division. JP Morgan in London is usually just an investment house. No one gives the commercial banking activities to outsiders.
So
go to Nigeria to see
so then, Mr. Jones, do you then stand by your word that Liberia has reached the height of societal ills? If so, my ears are open.
I think people are underestimating, and I just put up a new piece on Liberia on also Globe a few days ago, and I said that people are underestimating the economy of Liberia. It's beyond worse. You have a country with almost $2 billion in debt. They can barely finance the budget of $300 million payroll. Okay, they have no growth. They have an inflation rate of 23%. Was 30% recently. Interest rate 25%. All right, that is atrocious. Nowhere in the world that would exist. Even during the coronavirus in other countries in Africa, you don't see those numbers. So it's beyond, because so when people see the extent of the suffering, they feel the extent, but they don't know why. There can be no business that can borrow at 25% in a country. That rich, they should be at least at the most 9-10%. And there's nothing the government has done to focus on that. There's no policy out there they don't even talk about that. So it tells me the extent of their knowledge of in these very important areas in the country.
And again, folks, if you else we have with us tonight, Mr. Chuchu Alice Jones. He's our special guest on ASHFORD GARLEY Live, British Radio Africa. And of course, folks, I'm telling you, this is what we do on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Fridays and Saturday, we do Club Quarantine. And we have another astute gentleman that comes on tomorrow night as our special guest. The name is the former representative of Nima Kande, Representative Dona. And on Wednesday, we'll play host to Mr. What's the boy name, man? They're frisky, but we can talk plenty, man. That does the drive all the time. Josh.
Josh Lobo.
Josh Lobo is our guest on Wednesday, and on Thursday I will have Mr. Bala Kimat. So we are already booked for the rest of the week. But Mr. Jones, at some point,
Yes, sir.
almost everyone at one time or another worked with uh, people with troubling characters or characteristics. George Weah worked as peace ambassador in Ellen's government, and so did Samuel Toy and Nathaniel McGill. The vice president was the wife of Charles Tillett. Joseph Boyka was Ellen's vice president for 12 years. Bernard Ure was once a member of CDC. So why now there is so much disgruntlement about Bernard Ure, Joseph Boyka, and others who now have decided to put their strength and resources into the CPP to remove a government that have claimed to be at the height, that you claim to be at the height of societal ills? Please answer the question, my brother.
Well, I think it's, I mean, I don't share all of those views. I don't think the reason why Bernard Ure should not be embraced in Liberia is simply because of just his character. I followed Bernard Ure career. He had an outstanding career in terms of management. He's a he's an educated man. He has a great deal of experience. So I don't think my antipathy was somebody like Bernard Ure would be simply based on his affiliation. I think what I would say is that people with immense resources that I was just mentioning earlier, the banks in Liberia, where we don't control any major bank in Liberia. And you have a man who at one point was running the agriculture bank or ran the agriculture bank into the ground. Why don't some of these people, if they really want to build Liberia, channel the energy into creating an economic environment in terms of business, finance, agriculture, light industry. So that's where I think when I see that you work in Doe government, I think he was head of LEC Human Resource Department. He worked in Charles Taylor Hydrocarbon, Agriculture Bank, Maritime. If you haven't made any changes in all those different positions, right? Why would I think now that you're going to make any difference? You haven't. It's about time that people, when I talk about it, even the aliens and the broadcast, there's time where you have to pass the baton on to somebody else to have a crack at the problem you didn't solve. Rather than the only game in time in Liberia is I want to work with this government, I want to be politically into the game. So that raises the question that wow, man, who has had all these previous government positions, all right, has money. I think there's an article where at one point he was the richest man in the world. I think that was a Financial Times article. Why would he still be interested? I don't see Dangote in Nigeria fighting for a government position or fighting to be president. I see him building cement factory. I see him building salt, products. So unless it's for some other facetious reason or some other unknown reason, what's attractive about him going into government? What change can he make outside of government in terms of economics, business that he can make, that he has to make in government? That's my disappointment and disillusion with such characters who continuously see government as the only means, all right, to have any influence. What you doing in Liberia? You're not the Minister of Information, Culture, and Tourism, but what you do has more impact, I would argue, than the Minister of Information, Culture, and Tourism. Are you saying that you must be the Minister of Information, Culture, and Tourism in order to have an impact, in order to interview the likes of Jerome Verdier, the likes of, you are making a greater impact with no resources and no help in the government. Somebody like you if you were advocating to become, minister of agriculture, information, I would gladly. One, you haven't had any opportunity. Two, you've done things outside of government, right? In America or in an industrialized country, they take business leaders who have proven some degree of success. So a U.S. Treasury Secretary are not buffoons. These are people who either was a managing director, they started a company, they ran a bank, and I mean, you go down the list. So that's my issue with Liberian politicians. If you're that smart, go somewhere else and try your hands there.
Okay, Alex. We are going to go to the telephone line for folks who have questions for you. But just before we do so, what does Ellis think um, and feel about Liberians in the diaspora, uh, about their impact as it relates to Liberian politics? What do you think about that?
The diaspora community of Liberians is the best hope and the best chance for Liberia. That's the only good thing, that Liberia has a very well equipped, educated uh, people outside the country. That if some of these things that we're promoting could be implemented, these people can catch a flight in 9 hours and take a position. They don't have to get trained. You have one of the biggest nursing and healthcare workers in this country with lots of experiences. You have the capital. So when I see the government or politicians talking about you in America, you don't know what's happening in Liberia, it's so unfortunate, because that's Liberia's only hope. Those who, yeah, they are the ones who have the resources. We know the remittances in Liberia. We know how much, almost $300 to $400 leave from there every year. The whole entire government payroll is $300 million. So if you take that out, they will virtually have nothing. So that's one good thing that Liberia has the bank on. That should the right policy be implemented, that they can tap into the diaspora community, that they don't have to go. They can bring teachers, they can bring nurses, doctors, and so that's good. That's very good.
Okay, folks, if you just joining us, this is Mrs. Alice Jones. He's our special guest tonight. Again, the telephone number is out there. It's 248-979-1718. That's the number to call. And as we listen to hearing from you, the callers out there, let me go back to Information Highway, where Mrs. Lexi Brooks Roberts is standing by. Perhaps she has a few comments to be read. Mrs. Roberts, the microphone is all yours. Mrs. Lexi Brooks Roberts, are you there? Okay, I don't know what's going on with our device. Perhaps she has a little problem. And again, folks, this program comes on weekdays. There's a Tuesdays, and Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, and of course, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and of course, Thursdays. Fridays and Saturdays, we have Club Quarantine right here on breachradioafrica.com. This is where you want to be as we bring you broadcasts as you've never seen before. And tonight we at Uppertone to have one of the brightest minds in person of Mr. Alice Jones, who is in our studio tonight. And hey, and he has made himself available to questions coming from you. Mr. Jones, there are many outstanding Liberian financial analysts and practitioners who have written about the sterling of Liberia's economy. And this person said, me included, and our combined knowledge and expertise must be brought to bear at this critical point. What do you make of that the person's point?
That's an excellent point. I think that, and that's the purpose of the whole movement to make Liberia better, is to tap into each other's expertise and to work together. This movement is not centered around anybody. Tomorrow, I may not be part of it. It's to look for people who have certain expertise, whether it's in think something like beautician. Okay, a beautician. People don't realize that's $1 billion business. Okay, so there's lots of areas that you need in it to make to grow the economy. All right, and most business people are all scattered around the world. Some in Europe, some in Asia, some in America, and some are in Liberia. So the question now is, how do we harness the different expertise? All right, how can we now refine those different policies and papers into one solid to help our leaders? Because a lot of people argue, okay, why don't you go and work for this person or the other person? Uh, I mean, our publication is out there. I think the best way to help is to publish your work so that people can be able to have access to it. If you went to the U.S. Library of Congress, you can get papers from the 1800s that policies in every decade, in every leadership, in every field. So the question was very excellent. That a lot of people write. I read a lot. I read all the major magazines on all the most of the different subjects, and I see that Liberians are doing extremely well, and they're publishing more. I just had the opportunity to speak to a gentleman in Kenya that is doing his research and master's in health services. He had a publication, and I contacted him, and he will be joining us for us to work on health policy. So I welcome everyone to, let us find a way to start to think and discuss policy, and not always, like you said, go into the political mood. It's us against them. It's this party against that other party. We must embrace everyone. Everyone has something to offer. Whether it's a mason or a bricklayer, you can build Dubai with all those people, or any modern city. So we need everybody, and we are here to just create a platform for us to work together.
Alex, you wrote that banks in Liberia lack of control and regulations of the banking and finance institution. Okay, something that you wrote. Now, somebody who is one of our viewers is asking,
Yes.
Asher, can you ask Ellis if he's willing to work for Joshua if he was called upon to help in the financial sector? Alex?
Yes, I work for anybody, any government. I work for any campaign. I work for anybody. I work here for different banks. I work for JP Morgan. I work at Citi. I work at Bank of New York. So why would I not want to work anywhere that is conducive and that it can handle the fact that I'm going to be very objective? I've been hired, I've been fired, and I'm still standing. So it provided if the person is willing to get real objective, analysis, and they're not looking for someone just to sing praises. Yes, I work anywhere if the opportunity is given, with any campaign for that matter, to help. I currently do help, in many ways. Anywhere I see a Liberian is trying to do something positive, I try to put my hands and try to help them. Not as a party or as a group. I see it as, we're one country. We can do better if we just all try to build each other. So I mean, people see my critical side. That is needed. Everybody can be cheerleaders, but I also behind the scenes work with a lot of organizations and a lot of different campaigns. Whether it's the rape situation in Liberia with Hawa, not Hawa, but the little boy that got killed with Massa. I do it. And anyone out there who have a project and they need any expertise that I can provide, reach me directly. Whether you're in Liberia or you're in America. So good question. Thank you.
Now, Alex, I need some recommendation from you. Okay. You said banks are essentially managed by foreign investors with little interest in the country as it relates to development. I believe you're talking about Liberia, and you were talking about foreign banks. Please expand on that question.
Yes. Yeah, you see, so I did a paper back years ago on Liberian Bank, comparing Echo Bank and comparing, I think it was LBDI. And we see a lot of capital flight. When a business goes to a country to do business, they're not going for social purposes. The idea of business is to make money. All right. So I'm even anti foreign direct investment. And from an intellectual standpoint, because I've read many analysis, many papers and research that actually did quantitative studies that show that the more investors you have from overseas, the more capital flow you're going to have, because you want your own indigenous industry. No one can argue that. You hear Trump saying all the time, we want American companies. You see China is building their own companies. China is not going to look for British companies to go to China. What they don't have, they will learn it and they will build their own companies. So I'm totally anti foreign direct investment. It's a bad economic policy. It's a handicap. Build your industry. Use it only when necessary and use it only in very limited ways. So those banks in Liberia, I mean, you name it, GT Bank, Echo Bank. What have they really done to help build Liberia? Where the profit goes? In that very article, I stated in 1 year, Echo Bank made $20 million. I think Obasanjo went to Liberia and said, "You guys should try to invest some of your profit." The people were making so much money, while LBDI that very year were losing $2 to $3 million according to the financial statement. All right. And it's simple because we focus too much on the political side and not enough on the financial and economic side. You can be the best president. If you don't have a thriving economy, you're doomed. And you can't have a thriving economy if you don't have thriving financial institutions owned by your people. So I don't see this government doing it. I did not see any government doing it. Look at all our previous finance ministers. How many of them have been able to go back into any industry or any financial services to open any company? Zero. They're looking for the next government position to go into. So we have a problem. That's the most lucrative. That's what you went to school to become a banker or financial manager. Why will you can serve your country for a few years, 2, 3 years, 5 years, whatever the time is. But you can make that career. You're not you didn't go to learn, business to go and work in every government. You got somebody like the commerce minister. This man been in government at every ministry and every bank for the time I was going to demonstration in Liberia. And he's still there. He's still using what you call calculator that I have never got a chance to use. You want to tell me that all Liberian financial experts in all around the world, that we can't find somebody to replace Wilson Tappet? Can he not go into retirement? He has to drop at the job. If he hadn't changed Agricultural Bank, he hasn't changed National Housing and Saving Bank, which he managed to the ground. What can he provide to Liberians today? What can he tell someone who can close their eyes and run Excel and run Power BI, okay, and trade derivatives and trade, currency? He's a dinosaur in the financial world, okay? Right? I have a decade of practical banking experience, and I have to keep learning. Every job that I take or every assignment that I take, I have to do a course to learn. Then you telling me somebody who graduated in 1960, living in Liberia, that should be running our Ministry of Commerce. Ministry of Commerce is called Ministry of Commerce and Industries. What happened to the industries? We don't have one industry in Liberia, one major industry. We don't have one major public corporation in Liberia owned by Liberians. We don't have a stock market. You have stock markets in Kenya. You have stock market in Ethiopia.
And
You
again,
don't
for
have products.
if you just
So
join us tonight, Alex Jones, who is our special guest, and of course, just tell friends, relatives, and loved ones that this platform is open to everybody. Tomorrow night, we're gonna have the Honorable Walia Alsewa Dona. He wants to be the chairperson or the chairman of the Unity Party, and he will be into a Bridge Radio Studios to tell us why he thinks he can be the next chairman of the Unity Party. Want to go back to Mr. Jones? Mr. Jones, you blame the World Bank, the IMF, and the USA for helping to cause us problems in Liberia. How do you respond to this?
Well, the evidence are there. I mean, there's lots of consensus where these loans are given to Liberia, there are conditionalities. All right. And the simple meaning is that you can't, the country are forced to do certain things to get a penny from IMF or World Bank. In fact, in grad school, that was an area that I took a special interest in terms of looking at the what you call the Bretton Woods uh, institutions, the IMF, the World Bank, the IFC, the international finance companies. When they give these countries money, these countries now cannot do certain things. For instance, they cannot fund certain industries. So you see agriculture bank closed down, you see housing bank closed down, and Liberian marketing or corporation. Why? Because when the IMF gives you money, they don't want you to fund these industries. And why they don't want you to fund these industries? Because then it would take money out of the Western countries now that are providing those services. Okay, those countries can go into Liberia or sell the products to Liberia, and Liberia now can't export because they don't have the infrastructure. So that is so strictly, and I would debate this with the IMF. They wanted to, I can give you the document. Joseph Stiglitz, who was the chief economist of the IMF, he wrote a book called Globalization and Its Discontent, and he laid out the case. This man was economic council director for Bill Clinton. He's one of the most cited economists in the world. And so that's not Alex Jones one saying IMF is bad for Liberia or World Bank. But I'm saying they're crutches. They like drug. You get hooked on it and you never build your own industry. So what happens? Every day you see Samuel Tuer signing some letter of IMF. That's what he does. That in the budget. You never see him signing to open a corporation. You never see him signing to open an industry. Every day we're getting this loan from EU, and the same thing with other matters. So you can't live on that because the debt will keep piling up. You have to be innovative. If it's pencil, you have to learn how to make it in your country. And who's supposed to finance it? It's our own government. You see in America here, what the government is doing. The Federal Reserve, they're giving JP Morgan money. They're giving Boeing money, right? But it will go to Africa and tell these countries, no, don't back your industries. So we need, sorry to say, hard-ass finance minister that would tell the IMF, no, we're not going to do this. That's what Rwanda does. When Rwandans sit with IMF people, they negotiate. When Liberians sit with IMF people, they open their mouths and look at them and say, yes, sir. Because they don't have the gravitas, they don't have the depth. They're not well caught up on the damages. Go to South Korea, Argentina, all these countries. They were all victims of the Washington consensus. So it's not unless you're living on a rock, you don't know. Why you think Singapore and China don't take IMF loan, or they didn't take IMF loan? Or a country like Botswana. Botswana today is one of the most flourishing parts of Africa. They have their own industry. They manufacture. Botswana sent beef to Europe. They export beef to Europe. So why Liberia can't do such things? Why we can't, plant peanuts and we can't, make what you call not chocolate milk, but we can't make that any product, whether it's sardine or we have our fishery industry. None. Then we say we got minister, we got central bank governor. Every day they jump me around to one meeting after another meeting.
And again, Alex, you're doing such an awesome job tonight. And Ashford got it live at British Radio Africa. Folks, I'm telling you, this program comes on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. At the weekend, we do Club Quarantine, and we are honored tonight to be in the midst of a young man who is so passionate about Liberia and the people of Liberia. With that said, Mr. Jones, I see you are very critical of just about all of the political actors in the country now. Can you tell me who you think is best suited to lead Liberia now?
I think that local leaders. I think the country first needs to be.
We saw George Weah in his absence. We said, send the bold people, give us our time. They'll bring George Weah. Now the other artists are on the other side. They're thinking that George Weah is not good enough. Would you think Liberia now?
Well, again, that's that question. Like I said, I don't think that we need a very big, powerful person. We don't need any one person to lead Liberia. We need many leaders. We need leaders in all industries. And so I do not subscribe that to any one individual to go and become president, and then all of a sudden you have milk and honey. It's not going to happen. So I don't think of an individual. I think first we have to reform it, where every county will have its own leader, or leaders. Every district in Liberia will have people that are leading, and from those people, performance, right? Then you will see how they do in a little district. You're a district treasurer, and then you move from there to become the county treasurer, and they see you do a good job. You implementing. You have good check and balances. That it will move you on now to say, all right, go to the National Central Bank or go to the Ministry of Finance. So if you're asking me one person, nobody is fit. America and the Western world, they survive not because of one leader. They have the institution. Every state in America has its own economy, or in any country, whether it's Norway or it's Finland or it's Japan only in Africa we believe that everything is about a leader, and the leader enjoys that because it gives them unchecked power. So everybody who's running for office who do not see that flaw in the system, that if you got to, what happens if the leader is good and you get hit by a bus? Then you start over again. So let's say Cummings is the best guy, right? Cummings will do wonders for Liberia. What if Cummings get hit by a bus? Then what? We'll go back to war, we'll go back to regression. You build institutions, you don't build individuals. So I'm not about promoting any one person. So even when it comes to the ministry, it shouldn't be about a minister. It should be, you have a ministry of education, you have a strong research department, you have a strong what you call innovation department that coming up with the latest way how people can learn using iPads and so forth, but not the minister. So no one person in Liberia I would promote to say do that.
This is our special guest tonight, folks. I'm telling you, he's doing such an awesome job. He's answering the questions as we pose them to him. At this time, I want to go to the telephone line, and I believe the area code is 774. The last four digits of your number is 0215. Tell us your name and where do you join us from tonight?
Hey, Alex, how you guys doing, man? My name is Dualu. I'm calling from Boston, Mass. How you doing, Mr. Garley?
Hey, Dualu, what's up, my brother? Welcome to the show. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Not too bad. Thank you so much, man. Look, Alex, I've been following you for some time now, and I really appreciate what you do. But listen, there are a lot of things that can be done in Liberia. There is not short of recommendations, I think, given to this administration or previous administration. I, for one person, has been advocating for the abolition of any kind of concession in Liberia. It's another thing Ali talked about having that work for every county. If I just published a paper, and I believe Alex read this paper himself, it's called Restart Liberia into the New Foundation. And I believe we should actually segment Liberia to 5 zones, 15 counties. This is ridiculous. All the legislators in the place that is not going to go anywhere. But before I leave the show, and I have a question for Alex, but I will say this. I remember when the CDC government first came to power, and I was fortunate to sit with Honorable 12. And one thing I did tell him, I wrote a paper about this. You can actually Google this paper. It's actually called Leveraging Liberia's Resources to Lift the Pro-Poor Agenda. The issue was how we can address the issues in Liberia. It is laid out step by step. This is not a complicated matter. It's not about book. It's not about anything. It's about basic things that we have to do. If those basic things are not done, we can cry and scream they're not going to be successful. It's not about having degrees or having the basic things that must be done. The agriculture is where it's at. Now, before I leave the line, all the people come on, I got a question for Alex. And I want to say this. Like I say, I agree with almost everything Alex said on the show tonight. But he did speak about Alexander Cummings. Now, there would be a disclaimer that go out first before I make this comment. I have no affiliation with the ANC or anybody in government. I'm not either with any political party. But I want you to understand something. To get to the level of Mr. Cummings, there must be certain skills you must acquire to get to that level. Now, I'm not suggesting those skills are easily transferable to becoming a government official. That's not what I'm saying. Okay? But what I'm saying here is with basic skills. Now, Ellie and her cohorts, I like to call them brilliantly wicked, because Ellie didn't have the skills to transform this country. And they refuse to do that. And that hurts a whole lot. But I don't want Brother Alice to understand this. Mr. Cummings has the foundational skills that is required to make a proper leader. And we cannot discount that. Now, I, for one, will wish Mr. Cummings lay out his position anymore. I don't believe he fully understands what Liberia is up to this point, because you have to spend more time into the country and do a whole lot more things. I'm not talking about you go somewhere and you give $10 or $20. There are more intricate things that you must do in Liberia to fully understand what these people need. And look, there's a bunch of recommendations out there that we've written about, we've talked about, but we have to come to this here. We cannot be this underdeveloped with all this brain power. It doesn't make sense. Look, Mr. Garley, I said, I'm backing the government right now to create 200 jobs in Liberia today. Nobody will listen to me. I'm sick and tired of talking. We have the brain power to develop our country, but nobody will listen. And this is sickening. And we will talk and nothing gets done.
And Mr. Dualo, I believe I spoke to you a couple of years ago when I went to start the foundation of Spoon TV or Spoon FM. You were out of Boston, and the owner at the time hired me to leave from Detroit to the New Jersey, and we spoke about this. And you are so optimistic about empowering Liberians in Liberia. But listen, Dualu, I will need you to please get in contact with us, because we are going to have another just a special show for you. Because 30 seconds, 2 minutes on a phone call is not enough. And again, just conclude because we have others on the line.
Okay.
Okay, Dualu, thank you.
Thank you, bud.
Okay.
We have he's a great writer.
Ali on the line. Hello, Ali. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, brother. Also, thank you for having me, and I want to say thank you to the Tough Talking Alex in studios. I really admire, his exposés and the way he understands, the dynamics of Liberia's financial setting. I agree with him on most of the things, except when it comes to blaming the international partners. And the reason why we select or appoint or elect our government officials, they are supposed to be responsible to seek the interest of the masses first. Unfortunately, they strike deals that put a back kick in their pocket. So I wouldn't blame you, said, or most of the other things. But yes, everything he has been saying, it does not have to be to live in Liberia to know what's going on in Liberia. The IMF do not live in Liberia, but the IMF can tell you all of Liberia's financial struggles. Liberia must introduce a made in Liberia system. In order for Liberia economy to grow, whereas for Liberia must make money in Liberia. We have been living on donations for centuries. He mentioned, he made a clear statement. So he said business is based off profit sharing. No one goes into your company, no matter if it's a non-profit entity. The non-profit nomenclature is not something you can really rely upon. They're there to make money. So when they come into the country, of course they will get capital flights. So Alex has always been right. We have to be innovative and think about how we can create our own manufacturing company. Can you imagine toilet tissue being imported into Liberia? What can the government do? He asked about what happened to the industrial section of the Ministry of Commerce. What is Wilson Tapper doing there? Always said Liberia governmental issues have not been that it's been lack of qualified or educated people. It's been lack of sincere people. My question to Mr. To Alex then is, I understand he's willing to work in the Liberian government. Doesn't matter who runs the government or who leads the government. That is very patriotic on his part, and I appreciate it. My question is, there are so many areas of the Liberian financial sector that needs to actually be corroborated in order to be successful in reforming that sector. Okay, or let me just say forming that sector because that has not been formed. Which of the area, for example, the Minister of Finance, would people say is responsible for the financial activities in the country? Which area would he prefer to work if he was given position to go and service people? Would it be finance? Or would it be the Ministry of Industry? I think the Ministry of Industry is very, very pertinent in this issue because they can change the dynamics of the Liberian economic sector. And so, Alex, thank you so much for being on. ASHFORD. Thank you for having me. That's my question. Which part? How can
Thank you, Ali.
you
As
need to
always,
be?
man. You know, it's nice having you on.
Huh?
I say, as always, the next having you on. I'm pretty sure Alex is listening, and he will
Yes,
respond
yes.
to both you and Dwalo. Alex, the microphone is all yours.
Yeah, okay. So as of the first question about we can't blame the foreign, IMF and what have you. I totally agree. We have to protect ourselves, and we have to say and to get people who are at the same level as an IMF a representative, meaning they can sit down and have a financial conversation and let the IMF guy go and sweat, send him back, asking questions, bring him on television. All right, you want us to reduce our wage bill. Okay, what impact that's going to have on living standard? Is that going to increase our HDR? But you sit there and say yes, that everything that I haven't heard one finance minister in Liberia disagree with one thing in it. If anybody knows of anywhere where a Liberian finance minister, central bank have disagreed with IMF, have written it, please send it to me. And they can't be that right. I went to school with people who work in IMF and stuff. Most of the people who go to Africa are basically interns. There are people who are learning. Like I'm saying, I'm quoting the man who was the chief economist of the IMF, the World Bank, Joseph Stiglitz, won a Nobel Prize, all right, in economics. And he came up with the conclusion that these organizations are bad because they suppress the local industries. All right, and no country. Look at Brazil. Brazil is taking corn and making ethanol. That people can grow corn and make ethanol. You can go on Google today. I mean, on YouTube, and you can find out how to make anything. All the country needs to do is to support the industry. And then with the question about which area I think is most important, I think the Central Bank of Liberia has been way underserved. They don't know the capacity. They don't regulate the foreign banks. So anybody can become managing director or any bank once they come and they put down $500,000 to open a bank. We're so eager. We don't say, all right, you're going to open a bank in Liberia. How much share is going to go to people in Liberia? Every foreign bank in Liberia should have at least 50% of its shares to ordinary people. You can sell the share for $1. All right. That way, when the bank makes money, the people in the country will make money. But none of these banks give any shares. They give shares to a few minister or somebody who cut the deals, and like your man or Bernard, when they got the share with the Lone Star, which was a South African company that went to Liberia. He was with Charles Taylor, and he had the negotiation power. So they gave him share. He got rich, but he didn't think to say, "Oh no, let me give some share. Let me make this seem prospect to at least some of Liberians who wants to buy share in it." So when I say these things, is because I can challenge it because it's on paper. I can tell you the company. I can tell you the financial statement. It's up to. I think the central bank is a great area, but where I would rather do is to go and take a bank like Agriculture Bank or National Housing and Savings that is completely dilapidated.
And that's
if the government were to come out today and say, Alex Jones, what do you want? That's how I would say, all right, support us. Let's get all our financial people around the world. Let's put a good policy together, right? Let's try to raise some capital from other people, whether it's $1. We go and open our National Housing and Savings Bank, start giving people mortgages, start revitalizing our beaches. So I don't want an area of a minister or something like that because, essentially, To me, it's easy. What do ministers do in Liberia? Just run around to conferences and so I never see them even publish anything.
And
So give me a area where it's broken. Give me a county.
if somebody is saying, Alex, be careful because somebody is listening. With that said, folks, we have Ellis Jones as our special guest tonight, and we want to go back to the telephone line. The area code is 770-9094. Tell us your name.
Hello, this is Yasini, but actually I'm able to fool you this time. So yeah, that's my Facebook.
So me,
Hey, Alex, how are you?
I couldn't cut you off because I've just had enough of you, you know.
Yeah, we are family, so that one day you're on your own.
Okay, sis, welcome to the show.
So a few things to note. Great delivery app, and Alex. Great delivery. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much also for calling you with your talk. But a few things to note here. There is an article written by Mr. Harmon, I think 2007, 2008. The Liberia, the colonization was in how our money leaves the country. I think Alex alluded to it a little bit. Maybe he can come back and share that with us while Liberia stays forward. And because we are shipping in money about 300-400 million a year. And then because Liberians are not vested in their own country, or Liberians are not given opportunity to invest in their own country. So literally we impact from the outside, then the foreigners in our country kick everything out, and that must be fixed. Alex talked about training issues. Today we're in a technological community where they call the global village. What does Western Typer know about that? You can even turn on his own iPod. So how does he trade on the stock market? But let me go to Alex a little bit. Alex, I'm talking about Alexander Cummings. I think one thing that Liberians must give to Caesar what is due Caesar, like give people what they have to play their dues and reach certain pinnacle, we should be able to give that to them. Where Alexander Cummings is, where he went, no other Liberian had ever been. Okay, it does not take overnight. And for instance, when Mr. Alexander Cummings left Coca-Cola and went to Pillsbury, at the time there was a guy in General Mills called the Chainsaw Man who were doing something called hostile takeover, and were literally taking other organizations that they were in the breakfast business and taking over it and just dismantling it. And when Alex was hired, Alex was able to sustain, not only sustain Pillsbury, but grow it, make it thrive. And because of that, Coca-Cola called him back and gave him the position because he had left. Okay. And as a senior executive at that level, your skill is three things. It's transactional, it's transferable, and it's transitional. Liberians must understand that. Okay, so while we're being said that Alex brought a lot of talk to the table, we're working diligently to bring those things. And some of these things, I also know that in the full implementation of TRC, we talk about regional lasting Liberia, which is the decentralization, that people are responsible, that is transparent, great information that Alex just shared with us. I mean, and let us have, but give to, like he talked about the other people who have worked for government for over 10, 15 years before we were born, and after we were born, since we were kids, and then looking at ministers that have taken place before, and they're all just in line to come back to government. Even all of the money that they were paying, some were paying $20,000 and $30,000 a month. They did not invest into the country, but they still want to go to government. We cannot thrive. Liberia cannot compete with the rest of the world. The Alex rightfully put, unless we can invest into Liberia, or unless Liberians themselves can take the wheel of their economy. Because a nation is built upon its economy, not just on the population. If the population is not vested, then we'll just be, like you rightfully say, INS come to borrow us money with this and say it's a grant. And then the next day we find out we have to pay it and our children have to pay. So Liberia must wake up. We must invest in the brains that we have. And we have it. Majority of us in the diaspora, we are the middle class that Liberia never created. If Liberian leadership can tap into that, okay? Because our knowledge is also can be transferred into wealth. If those things can be invested in, then we're ready to do business in Liberia. But remember, Alexander Cummings is the first Liberian ever competitively merit his position in among the community of nation. Let's not dismiss that. When we do, let's acknowledge it, then we can talk about everything else around it. Yes, I'm of ANC, and that's not disclaimer. I need everybody to know that. All right? I am.
For the first time, you say, "Oh, I didn't cut you off." You say your piece.
I'm done. This we share this platform. You call me, I'll call you in the down with me flower, and you bring me in the not anything. Okay. Thank you so much. And thank you, Ellis.
Yeah.
Great job. We need to elaborate more for people to buy in. I think it's great job.
Thank you, yeah.
We need more people to come on and bring their knowledge to the table because we want this to be inclusive of all Liberians. We can do all the fighting, but until we sit down and have the roadmap or schematics as to where we want to go, then we have some tangible that are deliverable to the people that we want to change the trajectory of our nation. Thank you so much, Brother Ashford. And Alex, I have absolutely no question for you. I just wanted to come and support, the thought process and say great job.
Okay. And just before Alice responds, I want to go back to information highway, where Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts, the standing by. We have less than 5 minutes to go. I know Alice's response will take a little bit, so I just want to read out a few comments before we do just that, Mrs. Roberts. If you can get my signal, just read out a few comments, perhaps
Yes.
3 to 5. The microphone is all yours.
Okay, thank you. So we have trending Steve Bully. He says Wilson Tapper is a fraud and a big liar who has sold his legacy to Rhea and criminal friends. He should resign or be fired. More than once, he has lied to the Liberian people, opening and has not taken any responsibility of his actions. He is a shame and disgrace to Liberia. We have Ramatu Kamara replying to Hawa. She says, the president is doing his best to put Liberia on the map. Again, if only people like you will support, then critique all the time. Mona Lisa Morris writes, why I didn't get notification? She feels like she's late for the show. Sorry about that.
I think that has to do with Facebook. I mean, for quite some time now, folks have not been getting notifications. So it doesn't have anything to do with us here at the Breach Radio. So please say that to her. Yeah, thank you.
And then we have Ngensi Dwalu. He says, Alex, I have a recommendation out there on the point. Liberia's $1 billion challenge. Howard Mesca writes, Ghana made $6 billion on tourism alone last year. What are Liberia's plans for tourism? Christopher Wesley writes, the guest made some salient points on the financial sector. I agree that foreign banks source capital first. Like Liberia banks only, LBDI is trying now, but have not spread out in many counties.
Thank you. I want to go back to Mr. Jones to respond to the two previous callers, and then he can give us his parting comment. Mr. Jones,
yeah, I think all the comments were in place. We want to help, especially Mr. Steve, but I don't think it's just Wilson Tapper. The point I'm trying to make is I think everybody is focusing on government position, and that is disheartening. I think we need more business people and more conversation surrounding, because that's the only thing that's going to lift the people living standard. Look, at the end of the day, it's all about jobs. You don't have that many people can work in the government. So the only way Liberians will be able to get jobs is if you open industries. And you're not going to open industries if you're going to keep bringing companies into Liberia that are just there for natural resources. Look at Meta still did. All right. How has that really benefited in terms of jobs or in terms of the growth? We're still negative 2.5. So we should think about these things and say something's not working. There's all these investors. Thing. we might need to put a halt to it. As far as the question with Mr. Dualu, again, he's a part of the MLD, so he should be. We should be talking more and coming to design more proposal and looking at his proposal and seeing how much. But the challenge here is not that these people in government, or that it's not that we are not willing to help the government. And when I say help the government, you know, we don't have to be in government. I don't have to be a minister in Liberia to help Liberia economically. You understand? In fact, I think I wouldn't even be helping as much because it would take my time for other things that I think can really help Liberia. You're a minister and all that stuff, you involve a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of meetings, you know. But the government is not creating an environment for people to help. They're not even asking. They're not even reading. You know, I write on front page sometimes, I get 3,000 comments, I get people reach me. I have yet to see it to hear any Liberian current minister or finance minister. In fact, they hide from me, Mr. ASHFORD. When we started this organization, I reached out to so many people. I said that, look, let's work on something where we can develop our country. Some of them will not even get back to me. So they want to talk about politics. They want to talk about who will be the next senator and who will be the next president. And I'm not interested in that because I can say it loudly. Even if Bill Clinton was president of Liberia with 3% growth, 25% inflation, it's going nowhere. It's going nowhere. So nobody should fool you. I will go on a record. No president, no election can change Liberia economic trajectory. What can change Liberia economic trajectory is reforming the system where we put more time and resources into industries that will hire, that will improve our growth standard and will increase the living standard. Because all the social issues in Liberia, whether you talk about, you know, the legal system, or you talk about, you know, people being molested, or people doing, all has to have, it has the economic nature to it. If somebody does not have, if a mother does not have the assistance, or she has to leave home all day, and she has a young girl with no time or no means of providing, her child is going to be exposed to danger. So there's the economic factor that we have to take a look at, and I will hope that the candidates will talk more about this and less about
Jones, with
philosophy.
the time, in 30 seconds, just conclude so we can cut this tonight.
Well, I think I'll use that my conclusion statement, and I would like to give the rest of the 2 seconds to you. You're doing a great job. I like the platform. I like your neutrality. Keep it up. I know you're going to be criticized because you're not helping or hurting a particular person. So I want to encourage you, my brother, and you know, to keep bringing people. Forget about the ministers all the time and the big shots. Look, when we start our organization, we don't have any big shots, any big names. It's ordinary people, Liberians, that are making this organization, writing papers, and helping.
Tell Kona I want her to come on. Kona from Oregon. Tell her.
I was talking to her on yesterday, and I think she's a very brilliant woman.
Tell Kona we want her on this platform. You know, and this platform is open for every Liberian, folks. I'm telling you, Edison, you know this, you know, so we don't discriminate. We don't take sides. Hey, at the end of the day, we like certain people, but at the end of the day, we are on here. And Alex, I will say this to you. We ask you some tough questions tonight. But let me tell you, this platform is self-funded. Any dirty water can put a fire. Anything falling in your heart, just know that we accept any type of donation, just so you know.
Okay.
And I know you're
not just for me, but I think we have to get together and look at some funding source, you know, to help the broadcast, you know, something that will be ongoing, that will sustain it. It's very useful for communication, very useful to bring people together. So I take my word for it. We'll work together on something.
Thank you, buddy. Enjoy the rest of the night.
All right, thank you.
We're going to go back to Information Highway now, where Mrs. Lexi Brooks Roberts is standing by to give us her last word. Mrs. Roberts.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Alex Jones, for your brilliant delivery. Thank you to our viewing audience, and thank you to our listening audience. Of course, thank you to Rich Radio Africa for being the catalyst for bringing these thought-provoking issues to the public. Again, I agree with you, Mr. Jones. We don't just bring a president, we need to build institutions. So we cannot continue to recycle the same people. We need to bring new minds to the table and people with the expertise, not just anybody because they're party driven or they're loyal to one person. Again, we say thank you all. It was a great conversation, and we look forward to more of these conversations to enlighten our people. Have a great evening.
And folks, I'm afraid that's all the time I have to be with you tonight. God willing, we will be back tomorrow night. Oh man. Tomorrow we have the Honorable Walia Sewa Donat. He wants to be the chairman of the Unity Party. What does he bring to the table? Big question. I want you to come prepared. He wants to be the chairman of Unity Party that happens to be part of the CPP. Oh, bad. Until then, folks, please allow me to borrow the words of the wise man. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. But the height of a man is never known until he rises. And there's no second chance to make that first impression. Don't see okra and swallow bone. Because you can't hide your nakedness from bathing bucket. When God bless you, don't send a medicine. When white men know your friend black man. This has been yours truly. The commander of the microphone medicine, the brother who doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than the lion. As for the giant, the 9 man, one copy GARLEY. Have a good night.